Most women in the Bridgerton universe did everything right. The dresses, the posture, the perfect curtsies, and still ended up invisible. And then there was one woman who broke almost every single rule, caused the biggest scandal of the season, and still walked away with the most eligible bachelor in all of London. So before you assume that being a diamond of the season is about being the prettiest girl in the room, let me stop you right there. Because if Bridgerton taught us anything, it is that the game is so much deeper than that, and most people are playing it completely wrong. Let's be honest. If you and I suddenly woke up in the Bridgerton universe tomorrow, no phones, no situationships, no option to just text someone hey at 2 a.m., we would absolutely panic. You would walk into that grand ball, look around at all those gorgeous gowns and perfectly curled hair, and immediately feel like you do not belong there. And that feeling, my dear, is exactly what would ruin your season before it even began. Because here is what nobody tells you about the Bridgerton universe. The grand ball is not actually about dancing. It is not about the dress. Although the dress absolutely matters, let's not lie. It is not even about who your family is, even though the ton absolutely cares about that too. The grand ball is a performance, and the most powerful performer in the room is never the loudest one. She is never the one frantically scanning the room with wide eyes, trying to spot every eligible bachelor within a 10-foot radius. No, the most powerful woman in that ballroom is the one who walks in like she already knows how the evening ends. Think about it. When Kate Sharma walked into London society, she was not even supposed to be the one everyone noticed. She was there for her sister. She had no grand plan, no desperate agenda, no mother breathing down her neck about securing a match before the season ended. Well, actually, she did have a mother figure breathing down her neck, but that is beside the point. The point is, Kate carried herself with this quiet, unshakable energy that made Anthony Bridgerton completely lose his mind. And Anthony Bridgerton, if you recall, was a man who had decided he was never going to fall in love. Ever. He had a whole list, a literal checklist, for a practical wife. And then Kate Sharma showed up with her calm confidence and her sharp wit. And that man forgot every single item on that list. So what does that actually mean for you? Standing at the entrance of that grand ballroom, heart pounding. It means you move slowly, not because you are being fake or performing some character, but because slow, deliberate movement signals that you are not afraid. You are not chasing anything or anyone. You are simply arriving. There is a difference between a woman who enters a room and a woman who invades one. You want to be the former. You want your presence to land softly, but be felt deeply. Now, does this mean you should be cold or completely expressionless like some kind of elegant statue? Absolutely not. A soft smile goes an extraordinarily long way in the Bridgerton universe. Not a giggle, not a loud laugh at your own joke, which again, I would 100% do and ruin everything, but a quiet, knowing smile. The kind of smile that makes someone across the room wonder what you are thinking. The kind that makes them want to come find out. And here is the thing that Bridgerton shows us so beautifully, even if it does not always say it out loud. Confidence and arrogance are not the same thing, and the tongue can tell the difference immediately. Arrogance is loud. It needs the room to confirm it. Confidence is quiet. It does not need anything from the room at all. The women who became diamonds of their seasons were never the ones demanding attention. They were the ones who simply could not help but receive it. Of course, none of this means you have to be perfect. Penelope Featherington spent years attending these same balls feeling completely invisible. She was not gliding across the floor. She was standing near the wall in her yellow gowns, which, by the way, her own mother put her in, which is honestly criminal, feeling like the season was happening to everyone except her. And yet, Penelope Featherington became one of the most remarkable women in all of Bridgerton. So if you are already thinking this calm energy thing is not really me, then maybe the real question is not whether you can fake it. Maybe the real question is, what was it that Penelope eventually figured out that changed absolutely everything for her? Because it had nothing to do with her posture, and everything to do with what she knew about herself that nobody else did yet. So we talked about how you walk into the room. We talked about the energy you carry before you even open your mouth. But here is the uncomfortable truth, that the Bridgerton universe serves up with a side of tea and absolutely no apology. Calm energy gets you noticed. It earns you a first glance, maybe even a second one, but it will not keep anyone, because once a man crosses that ballroom floor and actually reaches you, once the pleasantries are exchanged and the small talk about the weather and the quality of the lemonade is done, something else entirely takes over. And that something else is what separates the woman who gets one dance from the woman who gets a proposal by the end of the season. That something else is depth. And no, before you roll your eyes, depth does not mean you need to have read every book in the library, or speak 4 languages, or have some extraordinary tragic backstory that makes you interesting. Depth in the Bridgerton universe means you have an inner world. It means there is something going on behind your eyes that is genuinely yours. A passion, a perspective, a talent, an opinion that you actually hold and would actually defend. Something that makes a conversation with you feel different from a conversation with every other woman standing in that ballroom in a beautiful gown with a perfectly rehearsed curtsy. Look at Francesca Bridgerton, quiet, composed, easy to overlook if you are not paying attention. She was never the loudest Bridgerton sibling, which is honestly saying something because that family is a lot. But Francesca had her piano. She had this entire relationship with music that existed completely independently of the season, of the ton, of any man's opinion of her. And that private world she carried made her magnetic in a way that was almost impossible to explain. You did not need to fully understand Francesca to feel like there was something worth understanding. That is the whole point. You do not need to hand someone your entire inner world on a silver tray. You just need them to sense that the world exists. And then there is Penelope, our beloved, underestimated, perpetually overlooked Penelope Featherington, who was secretly the most powerful voice in all of London society the entire time. Lady Whistledown was not a coincidence. It was not luck. It was the product of a razor-sharp mind that had been watching, observing, and analyzing the ton for years, while everyone looked straight through her. Penelope had depth pouring out of every single pore, and the tragedy is that she spent so long hiding it because she had been made to feel like that depth was somehow too much, too bold, too opinionated, too real for a woman whose purpose was supposed to be securing a match and staying quiet about everything else. And this is where Bridgerton quietly says something quite radical, if you lean in and listen carefully. Colin Bridgerton, the man who eventually saw Penelope fully, did not fall for her despite her intelligence and her sharp tongue and her very loud opinions about the world. He fell for her because of those things. He told her directly, find a husband who sees you, not a husband who tolerates you, not a husband who finds you acceptable enough, a husband who actually sees you. That is a very different standard, and the Bridgerton universe deserves some credit for planting that idea right in the middle of a story that is technically about the marriage market. But here is what I find genuinely fascinating. Depth of personality in Bridgerton is not just about what you know or what you can do. It is also about how you engage with the world around you. Kate Sharma's depth showed up in her protectiveness, her loyalty, her refusal to be told what she was worth by people who had only just met her. She had convictions. She pushed back. She debated Anthony Bridgerton in the middle of social situations where women were expected to simply smile and agree. And every single time she did it, he became more obsessed with her. Not less, more. Because a woman with a point of view is genuinely rare in a world that spent a significant amount of energy trying to sand that point of view down into something more agreeable and decorative. Now, here is the part where it gets a little complicated, because Bridgerton also shows you the flip side of this. Having depth and actually letting it show are two entirely different skills. And the ton, bless its complicated heart, did not always reward women for being openly themselves in every single setting. There was a version of depth that was celebrated, and a version that got you whispered about behind painted fans. So the art was not in hiding your depth. The art was in knowing when to reveal it, how much to reveal, and to whom. Which honestly sounds exhausting when I say it out loud. But think about it in real life too. You do not show every version of yourself to every person you meet on the first day. That is not dishonesty. That is just wisdom. What Bridgerton gets so right about this step is showing that talent specifically acts as a door. It gives the people worth knowing a way in. When Francesca played the piano, she was not just demonstrating a skill, she was offering a window into something private and real. When Penelope wrote, even anonymously, she was expressing a version of herself that was more honest than anything she could have said in a drawing room with her mother 3 feet away. Your talent does not have to be performance. It does not have to be something you display at a ball for applause. It just has to be something that is genuinely, undeniably yours. Something you would do even if no one was watching. Especially if no one was watching. And this matters more than people admit, because in the Bridgerton universe, just like in real life, people can feel the difference between a woman who is performing and a woman who is simply being. Performances are impressive, but they do not make you want to cross a ballroom floor. They do not make you lose sleep. They do not make a Viscount abandon his entire carefully constructed plan for a practical, emotion-free marriage because he cannot stop thinking about a woman who challenged him about something during a garden party. Depth does that. Realness does that. Having an actual inner world that you are not completely willing to surrender just to make someone comfortable, that does that. So yes, stand tall, move slowly. Carry the calm energy we talked about, but make sure there is something underneath it. Make sure that when someone gets close enough to look, there is a whole world behind your eyes that they did not expect to find. Because the season is long and the ballrooms are full of beautiful women in beautiful gowns who have mastered the curtsy and perfected the smile. The woman who becomes the diamond is the one who makes someone feel, in the middle of a crowded room full of noise and music and performance, like she's the only real thing in it. But here is what nobody in the Bridgerton universe actually wants to admit out loud. Having depth and being real and letting someone see you is only half the equation. Because the women who truly won, they also knew exactly how much to hide. And what Portia Featherington called the most powerful tool a woman could possibly possess is something that is going to make you deeply uncomfortable and maybe change the way you think about every interaction you have ever had. So we have talked about walking into the room like you belong there. We have talked about having a whole inner world that makes people want to know you. And now we have arrived at the step that is going to split the room completely. Because some of you are going to hear this and think it is brilliant. And some of you are going to hear this and think it sounds like emotional manipulation wrapped in a pretty Regency-era bow. And honestly, both reactions are fair. But stay with me, because what Bridgerton is actually trying to say here is far more interesting than it first appears, and Portia Featherington, of all people, is the one who says it best. Portia Featherington is not a woman most people hold up as a relationship role model. Let's be real about that. She is calculating, she is relentless, she is the kind of mother who put her daughters in yellow gowns that did absolutely nothing for their complexions and called it strategy. But underneath all of that, Portia understands something about human nature that the sweeter, softer characters in Bridgerton either do not know or refuse to admit. She understands that what people cannot fully have, they pursue. What is completely available, completely transparent, completely handed over without any resistance, they take for granted. And she built her entire philosophy around that one uncomfortable truth. Women do not overshare, according to Portia. Women do not speak directly. Women do not reveal everything at once. And the first time you hear that, it sounds like she is telling you to be fake, to perform, to shrink yourself down into some kind of calculated mystery box that exists purely to keep a man guessing. But here is what I think Bridgerton is actually doing with Portia's lessons, and it is more layered than it gets credit for. She is not telling you to be someone you are not. She is telling you to be someone who values themselves enough not to pour everything out on the table the moment someone shows the faintest flicker of interest. Think about the last time someone told you absolutely everything about themselves within the first hour of meeting you. Every fear, every wound, every opinion, every plan, every hope. Every disappointment. All of it. Right there, unfiltered and immediate. How did that feel? And now think about someone who revealed themselves slowly, who said just enough to make you curious, who answered your questions but always left you with one more question you wanted to ask, who was warm and present and engaged but somehow still had this sense of depth that you felt like you were only just beginning to understand. Which one made you lean in? Which one made you want to come back? That is the thing Portia is actually pointing at. even if she wraps it in language that sounds cold and strategic. Mystery is not about lying. It is not about pretending to be someone else. It is not about playing games with someone's feelings for the sport of it. Real mystery, the kind that is genuinely attractive and not just exhausting, comes from a woman who has so much going on inside her own world that she simply does not need to empty herself into every conversation she has. She is not withholding because she is manipulating. She is withholding because she has standards about what she shares and with whom and when. And that restraint reads as depth. It reads as self-possession. It reads as someone who knows her own value without needing anyone else to confirm it. Now, Colin Bridgerton would absolutely disagree with this. He told Penelope to be herself, plain and simple, no strategy involved. Just be you and the right person will see you. And that is genuinely beautiful advice. I am not going to sit here and dismiss it because it is also true, but I think Colin was saying that from the perspective of someone who was already in love with Penelope, and therefore already wanted everything she was. He was not navigating the beginning of something. He was already in the middle of it, the mystery phase. If Penelope ever had one with Colin, happened entirely by accident over years of friendship and proximity. So when he says just be yourself, what he actually means is, do not perform a false version of yourself to impress someone, which is completely different from saying flood every interaction with your entire inner world before trust has been built. Because trust is the key word here that Bridgerton keeps circling without always landing on directly. Mystery is not about keeping someone out. It is about making sure the door only opens when someone has actually earned the right to walk through it. And that is a deeply healthy boundary dressed up in Regency-era language about not being too forthcoming with your opinions at dinner. The spirit of it, underneath all the period-specific packaging, is actually quite modern. Protect your energy. Protect your inner world. Share yourself with people who have demonstrated they are worthy of what you are sharing. Do not hand your most vulnerable, most real, most precious self to someone just because they showed up and seemed mildly interested on a Tuesday. And this is where it gets genuinely interesting in the context of Bridgerton's actual storylines. Look at how the most compelling romantic dynamics in the show are built. Anthony and Kate spent an entire season in this electric push and pull, where neither of them would fully admit what they felt, and that restraint created a tension that was almost unbearable to watch. Simon and Daphne had layers and secrets and things unsaid that drove their entire arc. Even Penelope and Colin, the slowest burn of all of them, was built on year. Almost, and not quite, and one more thing left unspoken. Bridgerton as a show understands, on a structural level, that full disclosure kills the story. And it is quietly suggesting that in real connection, the same principle applies. Not forever, not as a permanent state of withholding, but in the beginning, in the fragile early stages of something forming, there is real power in the pause. There is also something worth saying about the difference between mystery and unavailability, because some people hear this advice and take it to an extreme that becomes its own problem entirely. Being mysterious does not mean being cold. It does not mean giving one-word answers and staring into the middle distance and refusing to laugh at anything. It does not mean making someone feel like they are failing some invisible test every time they try to get close to you. That is not mystery. That is just being difficult. And Bridgerton is actually very clear about this distinction, even if it does not spell it out. The women who are magnetic are warm. They are present. They are engaged in the conversation. They are simply not handing over the whole map to their interior life on the first meeting. Think about the way Francesca moves through social situations. She is quiet, but she is not absent. She is selective, but she is not unkind. She gives you enough to feel welcomed, and then she keeps the rest for herself. Not out of coldness, but out of a genuine sense that not everything needs to be shared, and not everyone has earned the full version of her. That is the balance. That is what Portia is fumbling toward with her calculating lessons, even if she delivers them with all the warmth of a business transaction. And there is one more layer to this that I think is the most important thing Bridgerton says about mystery, and it has nothing to do with men or matches or the season at all. The women in Bridgerton who are the most compelling, the most alive, the most fully realized as characters, are the ones who have something that belongs only to them. A secret life, a private passion, a part of themselves that no relationship has access to. Penelope had Lady Whistledown. Francesca had her music in the way she truly experienced it. Kate had her inner world of responsibility and love and grief that she carried quietly. That private self, that part of you that is not for anyone else's consumption, is not a strategy. It is the foundation of your identity. And when you walk into a room with that foundation fully intact, people feel it. They cannot name it, but they feel it. But here is the question that should be keeping you up at night right now. If mystery is so powerful, and depth is so magnetic, and calm energy is so attractive, then why did some of the most remarkable women in the Bridgerton universe almost lose everything? Not because they were too mysterious, or too deep, or too composed, but because of one single thing they forgot to protect above all else. And that thing is the reason the final step is the one that actually decides everything. We have made it to the final step, and I want you to really sit with this one. Because everything we have talked about, the calm energy, the depth of personality, the mystery, all of it, collapses completely without this last piece. You could walk into that ballroom with the most perfect composure in all of London. You could have the most fascinating inner world, the most compelling talent, the most exquisitely maintained sense of mystery, and you could still end up in the worst possible match of